Yeah. Hair flip. Yeah, I'm a badass bitch. I don't like it. Hair flip. Yeah. Oh my god. So you guys should be happy. Oh my goodness. Hair flip. But anyways, hair flip. And hair flipping on your toes. Hi.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to your boy SeanDavieWay. I just want to thank you all for all of your support. I see you all are truly enjoying surviving 90s sitcoms as much as I enjoy making them. So thank you once again for all of your support, mispronunciation of words and all. Thank you so much for joining me. So we are back with another video. We will be surviving another 90s sitcom, which is In Living Color. So without further ado, I will not hold you. Let's jump right into In Living Color. In Living Color is an American sketch comedy television series that originally ran on Fox from April 15th, 1990 to May 19th, 1994. Keenen Ivory Wayans created, wrote, and starred in the program. The show was produced by Ivory Way Productions in association with 20th Television and was taped at Stage 7 at Fox Television Center on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, California. The title of the series was inspired by the NBC announcement of broadcast being presented in living color. During the 1960s, prior to mainstream color television, it also refers to the fact that most of the show's cast was black. Unlike other sketch comedy shows such as Saturday Night Live, whose casts were mostly white at the time. It was controversial due to the Wayans' decision to portray black humor from a raw, uncut perspective in a time when mainstream American taste regarding black comedy had been set by shows such as The Cosby Show, causing an eventful feud for control between Fox executives and the Wayans. Other members of the Wayans family, Damon, Kim, Sean, and Marlon, had regular roles, while brother Dwayne frequently appeared as an extra. The show also starred several previously unknown comedians and actors, including Jamie Foxx, Jim Carrey, Tommy Davidson, David Alan Grier, and Takia Crystal. The show introduced Jennifer Lopez and Carrie Ann as members of In Living Color's dance troupe, The Fly Girls, with actress Rosie Perez serving as choreographer. The show was immensely popular in its first 2 seasons, capturing more than a 10-point Nielsen rating. In the 3rd and 4th seasons, ratings faltered as the Wayans brothers fell out with Fox Network's leadership over creative control and rights. The series won Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Variety, Music, or Comedy Series in 1990. The series gained international prominence for its bold move as its all-time high ratings gained by airing a live special episode as a counter program for the halftime show of U.S. leader CBS's live telecast of the Super Bowl, prompting the National Football League to book A-list acts for future game entertainment, starting with Michael Jackson the following year. In 2018, A History of the Show, Homie Don't Play That, by David Pesner was released by 37 Inc., an imprint of Simon & Schuster. Following Keenen Ivory Wayans' success with the Hollywood Shuffle and the movie I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, Fox Broadcasting Company approached Wayans to offer him his own show. Wayans wanted to produce a variety show similar to Saturday Night Live, but with a cast of people of color that took chances with its content. Fox gave Wayans a lot of freedom with the show, although Fox executives were a bit concerned about the show's content prior to its television debut. In announcing its debut, Fox described In Living Color as a contemporary comedy variety show. In its preview, the Christian Science Monitor warned that its raw tone may offend some, but it allows a talented troupe to experiment with black themes in Saturday Night Live-ish format. Keenen Ivory Wayans said, "I wanted to do a show that reflects different points of view. We added an Asian and Hispanic minority to the show. We're trying in some way to represent all voices. Minority talent is not in the system and you have to go outside. We found Crystal doing her act in a lobby of a theater in Chicago. We went beyond the comedy stories and improv, which are not showcase places for minorities." For the first episode, an exotic-looking logo was used for the opening credits. However, after the band Living Color claimed in a lawsuit that the show stole the band's logo and name, the logo was changed to one with rather plain typed letters of 3 colors. The show title itself is homage to NBC's Peacock tagline, "The following program is brought to you in Living Color," from the 1960s when television was transitioning from black and white to color TV. In the first 2 seasons, the opening sequence was set in a room covered with painter tarps. Each cast member wearing black and white played with brightly colored paint in a different way, throwing paintballs at the camera by hand, spray painting the lens, using a roller to cover the camera lens, etc. The sequence ended with a seg to a set built to resemble the rooftop of an apartment building, where the show's dancers performed a routine and opened a door to let Keenen Ivory Wayans greet a live audience. So now let's get into the characters of the show, the cast, and let's also get into when they started and when they ended. Kim Wayans. From 1990 she was on the show to 1993. Kim Wayans wasn't just good for a Wayans sibling. At times, she upstaged Keenen and Damon brilliantly, carving out her own string of top-shelf wacky characters. She did a better Grace Jones than the iconic force of nature herself, nailed Tracy Chapman, and perhaps received her most empathetic response when she lampooned earlier 90s house music queen Crystal Waters. Yet Kim will forever be associated with the perpetually nosy next-door neighbor Benita Buttrell. But I ain't the one to gossip, so you ain't heard it from me. Who dishes scandalous dirt on everyone on the block, including her beloved Miss Jenkins. Marlon Wayans. He was active on the show from 1992 to 1993. The youngest of the 10 Wayans siblings, Marlon appeared on In Living Color as a Similac Breath supporting cast member doing random spot duty with such blink or you'll miss him roles as rookie cop in Brother Damon's absurd head detective and as a mugger in the Super Bimbo skit. But it wasn't until 92 when Marlon broke out with Mr. Ugly Man, a brazen spoof of Shabba Ranks in his 1991 crossover dancehall classic, Mr. Loverman. The image of a faux Shabba's unsightly face breaking a mirror is pure hilarity. Shawn Wayans. Shawn was active on the show from 1990 to 1993. Truth be told, no one expected much from Shawn Wayans when he began his run on In Living Color. After all, he was introduced to viewers as DJ SW1 while spinning records during the Fly Girls dancing segments. The youngster flashed a bit of potential with his Chris Rock and Jimmy Walker impressions before grabbing a rare spotlight as one of half of the clueless duo Tony Rome and Snuff A. Lufficus. Chris Rock. Chris was active from 1993 to 1994. Legend has it that Rock was fired from Saturday Night Live when producers discovered he was planning on jumping ship to In Living Color. The irony was, Rock only appeared in 2 episodes. The Fox rival sketch comedy series was canceled just over a month after he signed his deal. But, give the man credit, Rock still managed to make Cheap Pete, the ridiculously frugal character he first introduced in Keenen Ivory Wayans' 1988 black exploitation romp I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. It was one of the few standout moments in In Living Color's last season. Tommy Davidson. He was active on the show from 1990 to 1994. As recurring gags go, no matter how many times Davidson, Howard Tibbs, abruptly yells "Bam" as he pulls out a fake business card, the shady showbiz grift never gets old. But Davidson's true superpower was mimicking a seemingly endless array of musical artists. You want black or white, era Michael Jackson, he could do that. MC Hammer, yep. And over-the-top Sammy Davis Jr., sure. Davidson made it look easy. The Coming to America TV show Lost was comedy's game. Jamie Foxx. Jamie was active on the show from 1991 to 1994. His signature character was Wanda Wayne. When Fox made his debut on the third season of In Living Color, it didn't take long for the rising Texas comic to make his presence felt. Not only did he inject new manic energy into impressionist favorites like Bill Cosby, Prince, and Little Richard, he created the show's truly last great original character. Fox facially challenged Wanda Wayne became so popular someone created an hour-plus YouTube compilation featuring the ugliest woman alive. I'm gonna rock your world, indeed. David Alan Grier. He was active on the show from 1990 to 1994. Like Saturday Night Live's Ultimate Team player, the late Phil Hartman, the theatrically trained David Alan Grier displayed the innate ability to make everyone around him better. Just watch him in any In Living Color sketch and you'll marvel at how he was exceptional as a straight man or part of a duo as he was taking center stage. Men on Films might just be the show's best known recurring sketch. Cephas and Reese is so dumb that it's brilliant. And Grier's down on his luck bluesman, Calhoun Tubbs, had every kid in school saying, "Wrote a song about it, like to hear? Here goes." Jim Carrey. He was active on the show from 1990 to 1994. There's a reason why Carrey was this close to getting the top spot. The Canadian-born actor and comedian was the proverbial force of nature who went beyond being funny for a white dude. The bad karate class guy, Reverend Carl Pathos, Carrey rarely missed. Just check out his trademark pyromaniac Fire Marshal Bill, a character that was so thorough and weird that it seemed like Carrey was beamed down from another planet. Damon Wayans. He was active on the show from 1990 to 1993. The third eldest Wayans tops our list. Fueled by a sheer volume of his first-tier sketches among the best, Handyman, The Head Detective, Men on Films, co-star Blaine Edwards, and ex-prisoner Oswald Bates. But Damon was after more than just chuckles. He seemed to excel at making the comically impossible a reality. A black nationalist clown who relishes bopping kids over the head would have never gotten the big 3 network censors, but Homie D. Clown blew up, even producing the show's most famous catchphrase, "Homie, don't play that." Keenen Ivory Wayans. He was active on the show from 1990 to 1993. Keenen Ivory Wayans was no fool. The chief visionary and host of In Living Color knew when to get out of the way and let his talent-rich crew take over the screen. That's not to say that the creator was incapable of some pretty hilarious moments. His delightful sketch, Brothers, with Damon was exceptional. His Mike Tyson impression did great, and the uncouth Jerry curl rockin' Frenchie may just be the most lovable role to come out of In Living Color, period. Kim Coles was also a part of the early cast of In Living Color, but she says that she got fired from the show because Keenen Ivory Wayans wanted to make his sister Kim Wayans a bigger star. And he felt like, she was in the way of his sister becoming bigger because Kim was a fan favorite. So allegedly, according to Kim Coles, that's why she got fired from the show. So let's get into that. Kim Coles reveals Keenen Ivory Wayans fired her from In Living Color to make sister Kim Wayans a star. Says she used to cry in her dressing room. In Living Color, created by Keenen Ivory Wayans, was a groundbreaking sketch comedy show that was prominent in most African American households during a time when there wasn't much racial diversity on television. The sketch comedy show broke barriers, employing a predominantly black cast, rivaling Saturday Night Live's mostly all-white cast. The show would light up television screens for 5 seasons in the early 90s, while also introducing us to some of our favorite actors of today. Audiences were introduced to previously unknown comedians like Jim Carrey, who was one of the only 2 white people in the original cast, Jamie Foxx and David Alan Grier. And Living Color also had incredible key players in the cast. Among them were Tommy Davidson, Takia Crystal, Kelly Cofield, and Wayne's siblings Damon, Kim, Sean, and Marlon. The show also employed an in-house dance crew known as the Fly Girls, choreographed by Rosie Perez, and also famously introduced the world to singer and actress Jennifer Lopez. Also, part of this show's original cast was Brooklyn native Kim Coles. The actress and comedian was heavy in stand-up circuit for years prior to her casting on the show. Having appeared on Showtime at the Apollo and many other big stages and becoming the opening act for Sinbad's comedy show as well, her ability to appease audiences with her act caught the attention of Keenen Ivory Wayans, which led to her eventual casting. I got the show because of my stand-up, she mentioned in a past interview. Keenen was looking specifically for stand-up comedians who could perform as actors or sketch comedy people. The show became her big break. She would be known for her impressions of celebrities like Robin Givens, Marla Gibbs, and Downtown Julie Brown. The show's first season became a massive hit with audiences and went on to win Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Variety Music or Comedy Series in 1990. However, when the show arrived for its much anticipated second season, fans noticed that Coles was absent from the cast. Much explanation wasn't given for her departure, and many speculations began to arise. Reports of her firing due to a love affair gone bad with Keenen Ivory Wayans spread, which Kids in America actress denies. The story goes that the weekend before production commenced of the second season in 1991, Coles got a call from Keenen Wayans' assistant who told her not to come in on Monday. Upset about the speculation surrounding her departure, she expressed her feelings in a 1992 interview. Her quote, "I read where he said he let me go because I wasn't versatile." She said, "How can you show versatility when you're not given a chance?" The actress also expressed feelings of being overlooked in favor of his sister, Kim Wayans. Now that I look back on it, it became evident that, and I'll try to be nice, it was Keenen's job to make his sister, Kim Wayans, a star, Coles revealed. "I'm not trying to say I'm the best stand-up comic out there, I'm not, but I've seen Kim before, and in my opinion, she isn't very good. And for the record, I would say this to her face." Coles added, "Keenen would take things out of my hands and give it to her. Writers write, but he cast the show. We'd sit around a table and he divided out. Kim, you read this and you do so, and you do so, and so forth." She takes the part to blame for her departure, however, saying, "Part of it was my fault too. Instead of fighting it, I just sit in my dressing room and cry. It's a show designed for men by men. Most of the work is written for the men. That's the way Keenen is. He's very male-oriented. I don't want to say macho. He doesn't hate women, but he's a man that absolutely comes from a man's perspective. That's the first complaint. Secondly," she adds, "any work that was given to any women, most of it went to 2 women, which were his sister and Kelly Cofield. That just developed as a pattern and on and on." After leaving the show, and despite the bad departure, she expressed that she learned a lot from the experience. after a few guest roles and she was cast on one of the biggest hit sitcoms created, Living Single, where she starred as Sinclair James, the show's creator, Yvette Denise Lee, said that Coles was the first choice for the show. So if you didn't know, allegedly Kim Coles and Keenen Ivory Wayans were having an affair in 1990. Now, who specifically started the rumor? It was coming from the set of In Living Color. Now, I don't know if it was from a woman or if it was from a man, but they were saying that the reason Kim Coles was getting special treatment and was getting more of the glamorous type of sketches like being Robin Givens and others was because she was sleeping with Keenen Ivory Wayans. And in 1991, when they were filming season 2, she got fired. And the rumor why she got fired is because Keenen didn't want her anymore. He was pretty much over it. It was a fling for him. And he got rid of her because he really had her around just because he was attracted to her, allegedly. So Kim Coles comes forward and says, no, that is the furthest thing from the truth. I never had an affair with him. The reason I felt like I got fired was due to the rumors that were circulating that we were allegedly sleeping together. I feel that that's why his assistant contacted me and told me that I was no longer working for In Living Color. But the real reason I feel like I got fired was because of his sister. She wasn't a breakout star, and she felt like Kim was in her way because a lot of the sketches that Kim had when, Kim was coming really like onto the show to stay type of situation, not just featuring, more so of a permanent on the show, he needed to remove somebody to place her as a rising star, meaning give her the comedy sketches that would definitely be funny so that people would pay attention to her. And Kim Coles felt like Kim Wayans wasn't funny. So it's like, you're giving this girl all of the sketches that I can make great, and she's ruining them because she's really not funny. Like, she's really only here because she's your sister. This is her first job, and the reason she got it is due to association. So like nepotism, she's not getting it because she's actually talented. That's why I'm here. Keenen found me, Kim Coles, while I was doing a stand-up circuit, and it was becoming very well. I performed at Showtime at the Apollo and all of that. Kim Wayans has done none of the groundwork. She just kind of got this handed to her, and that's why she would be so sad about it, because she felt like, well, this is his sister, so it's not like I can come to him and complain and be like, hey, I feel like ... It will be different if there was no family connection, but obviously she's going to get the say over me because it's his sister. So that was her, her conflict, and why she felt that she truly couldn't say anything. She kind of felt like she was being put in the corner because there's nobody to fight for me. I'm on my own. So if she was truly sleeping with Keenen, I don't feel like Kim would have been able to replace her so quickly. So I don't believe the rumor. In my opinion, I believe Kim Coles. I believe that she was not sleeping with Keenen Ivory Wayans. But him coming forward and saying that she didn't show versatility, I agree with her again, because she wasn't really given the opportunity, to show versatility. She's not a writer, and she also does not cast. That was Keenan's job. So if you want to see how versatile I am, give me versatile things. Don't make me pretty if you want me to be, like ugly. Like, make me an ugly character. Don't make it so glamorous, and I can show you what I'm capable of. You didn't choose me for no reason. So yeah, that was the rumor that was going around, and there's no proof to it. Kim said that it was false, so I'm gonna go with her. But moving right along. So speaking of affairs, allegedly Jennifer Lopez, when she was a fly girl, she was having one with Keenen Ivory Wayans, allegedly. She has been quoted saying in the past, once again, allegedly, that it was the most unpleasant working experience she ever had and left after a season, but won't go into detail. I heard other girls hated her for stepping on everyone to be center stage, and she was sleeping with Keenen Ivory Wayans for more airtime. Nothing has ever been proven. Here's what Carrey Ann has stated about J.Lo in the past. Carrey Ann Inaba has admitted that she did not get along with Jennifer Lopez when they were working together. Appearing on the Wendy Williams show, the Dancing with the Stars judge explained that she was often mistaken for Lopez when they starred as fly girls on In Living Color. You know what is crazy, she said? When she first came out, everybody would show these pictures of us and they would put under me that I was J.Lo and that I was her. But she's Latin and I'm Asian, and no, we were different. However, when Wendy asked if the pair had been friends, and now explained that it had been difficult living with other women. You know, we work together, she said. Not always when you have a room full of 5 girls, you know, with strong personalities, you don't always get on. That's all. All right, next subject. That was the most Carrie Ann was willing to say about Jennifer Lopez. That's how you can tell that there's definitely some tension there, and she does not like her. She had nothing nice really to say. It's not like when Wendy Williams asked her the question about J.Lo, she was just like, oh, well, you know, she's a great dancer, she's a this, she's a that. It's kind of just like, look, we pretty much did get along. You know, when you put a bunch of strong personalities in one room, not all of them are going to get on. And Jennifer Lopez was definitely the one in the room that was bossy. She definitely wanted her way, and she felt like she could get her way because she was allegedly sleeping with Keenen Ivory Wayans. Because if you think about it, if it's 5 strong personalities, then you would think that if J.Lo is stepping on toes, or if J.Lo is trying to sun the other women and make them feel as if she's more important than them, a strong personality is going to combat it. But if that strong personality has a connection that you don't have, meaning that you are more disposable than them, meaning that, hey, she's allegedly sleeping with the show creator, the one that hires and fires, the one that cuts the checks. So I'm not even going to acknowledge her because I don't want the ending result, which will probably be me getting fired. I feel like she's going to be chose over me, I should say, because she's doing things that I'm not doing. So if you notice in the interview with Carrie Ann and Wendy Williams, she would not go any further than that. She just like, look, that's all I'm willing to say. Next subject. But all of the dancers and a lot of the women actors or actresses on the set felt like Jennifer Lopez was sleeping her way to the top because she got way more airtime than the other Fly Girls. She was center stage with Keenen Ivory Wayans when they would open the door for him. The Fly Girls would open the door and he would come out to the live studio audience. She was usually the one opening the door or standing right there arm in arm with him. So the other dancers and the other people, you know, they kind of took that as, and okay, well, she's clearly sleeping with the boss, you know, allegedly. But she didn't get the role for dancing, if you ask me, because Rosie Perez, the show's choreographer, which would have been the one who not hired J.Lo, but brought her to Keenen Ivory Wayans for him to decide if she was good enough to be on the show, he wasn't very fond of J.Lo. He actually ridiculed her. Let's get into the beef of Rosie Perez and Jennifer Lopez. Rosie Perez reveals feud with J.Lo in new tell-all. She went off on me like some ghetto bitch. Don't invite Jennifer Lopez and Rosie Perez to the same party. The two have been feuding for more than 2 decades. Perez reveals in her upcoming memoir, Handbook for an Unpredictable Life. They met on the set of In Living Color, where Perez was the choreographer and Lopez was auditioning to become one of the Fly Girls. Perez says she immediately noticed Lopez, who she recalled as a beautiful girl with a big ass. Reports from the New York Post. The show creator and host, Keenen Ivory Wayans, wasn't a fan though. She had convinced him to hire Lopez, who he thought was chubby and corny. Perez soon regretted her support of Lopez. All of the girls were coming into my office complaining about how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me, all to her advantage, Perez writes. Soon Perez says Lopez was going off on her like some ghetto bitch, screaming and pounding her chest. The Won't Back Down star writes that there are still hard feelings between her and the American Idol judge. We ladies of color all know that it is hard for us in the entertainment business, Perez writes. This kind of shit hurts us all and those that follow in our footsteps. So if not for Rosie Perez, like, look, you are a Latino woman just like me. It's hard for us out here, just like it is for any woman of color, a black woman, an Asian woman, or, you know, anybody like that to be on the scene. So let me look out for you and give you an opportunity, because Keenen Ivory Wayans did not want J.Lo as a Fly Girl. So Rosie pulled her weight to get a Latino girl on the scene, which I think is a great idea. And in the process, Keenen's just like, okay, I trust your opinion, and let J.Lo come on to the Fly Girls. Little did Perez know that this is going to be one of her worst nightmares in hiring someone, because Jennifer started manipulating wardrobe and makeup and the dressing rooms, and even Rosie, for Rosie to give her more of the standout choreography of the solo acts, because with the Fly Girls, sometimes they all came out and dance at the same time, and then sometimes they would come out like one by one. Some would have longer little solo dances than others, and Jennifer was definitely one of those people. So she was also manipulating Rosie. But think about it. If Jennifer's sitting there screaming at the person that got her hired, okay, pounding her chest and whatnot, and basically trying to get physical, that means that she is indisposable, that I know I'm not going anywhere. Why would she feel basically that she can do all of those things to her boss, which was Rosie Perez, if she didn't feel like she had the upper hand? That's why a lot of people felt that Jennifer Lopez was sleeping with Keenen Ivory Wayans. This is the girl that hired her, and she is now disrespecting the person that got her hired, and you're not going to do anything about it. And Keenen didn't. Jennifer stayed until the show ended. That's why people felt that Jennifer Lopez was definitely sleeping with Keenen Ivory Wayans. Most people, especially if you grew up in the 90s, you know Jim Carrey from the show In Living Color. So a lot of people still coin Keenen Ivory Wayans as the reason Jim Carrey got his start and why he became this global phenomenon. But it's actually not him. It was because of his brother, Damon Wayans. Damon Wayans was responsible for getting Jim Carrey. Knowing Carrey from the Comedy Store and from working together on the movie Earth Girls Are Easy, Damon was Zebo and Carrey was Whiplock. Damon strongly urged Keenen to hire him. It took a while to match Carrey's financial demands, and Thomas Hayden Church was almost cast instead before a deal was made. Damon Wayans was actually the reason Jim Carrey became a household name, a superstar, a megastar, a global star, if you will, because he just knew Jim Carrey had the potential. So he told his brother, like, hey, we got this show coming. We should definitely try and get this guy. And it all ended up working out. So shout out to Damon Wayans for finding Jim Carrey, because yes, Jim Carrey was doing work. He was getting roles and things in that nature, but he hadn't found his big breakout hit. In Living Color put him on the map. He became so popular on the show that if there was a season 6, it would have basically been called the Jim Carrey Show, because he was hilarious. Everyone liked him. The black audience adored him just as much as the white audience. But Jim Carrey had some incidents on scene. He had a lot of arguments, especially with Keenen Ivory Wayans. Remember in the movie Pet Detective, Ace Ventura Pet Detective, when Jim Carrey used his buttocks to speak? That actually came from being in the writer's room and him doing that to Keenen Ivory Wayans. So let's get into that. Carrey's infamous ASS talking scene from Ace Ventura Pet Detective came from an incident in the writer's room. Frustrated one day with Keenen's constant rejections of pitched sketches, Carrey stood up and read a sketch from his buttocks in Keenen's direction. The two almost fought before Keenen walked out of the room. So Keenen found that very disrespectful, and it got so heated to where they literally almost put hands on one another. They had to pull Keenen out of the room because he was trying to fight Jim Carrey. But what I found very interesting is that Jim Carrey wanted to fight him. Jim Carrey did not back down. He wanted to fight Keenen, and that kind of made me like Jim Carrey more, because I'm just like, oh, okay, he really with it, you know? So yeah, Jim Carrey stood in his, grace, and was just like, look, I'm not backing down from you. I'm not afraid of you. And it got so bad that they had to basically forcibly remove Keenen from the room. Did you know that Martin Lawrence actually auditioned to be a part of The Living Color? But Keenen didn't like him. Martin Lawrence didn't pass the In Living Color auditions. In addition to Lawrence, Margaret Cho and Susie Essman also auditioned but never made it onto the show. If you noticed from earlier when I was letting you know when the cast members started filming and being a part of the In Living Color show, and from when they left, all of the Wayans family members quit in 1993. None of them were on the show after the year of 1993. So let's get into that. Keenen quit when Fox started airing repeats. During the 4th season, Fox began to show episodes from the previous seasons without permission, diluting the value of In Living Color before its upcoming syndication deals. Wayans was furious that he hid a tape of a fully edited new episode above the ceiling panels in his office, so nobody from the network could get to it. Eventually, he gave up and left the set for good. There was multiple reasons that Keenen Ivory Wayans wanted to separate himself from Fox. The first thing is they told him that he had creative freedom, that he and his team, the writers and the production company, all come together, find the skits that they like the most, and they will push for it to be on the show. But the problem came in is that a lot of the things that they wanted to do, they would cut. So when it came for it to be shown for the debut, a lot of the stuff that they did was gone. So that was very confusing to Keenen and the cast, because they're just like, well, wait, well, where did this go? And where did that go? And we did this. And, you know, a lot of really, really, really funny things were removed because they wanted to push the things that were more race related and things in that nature, which was very offensive at times to Black people. And they gave them the freedom to basically, you have the freedom to offend Black people, but you don't have the freedom to offend others. Like, you don't have the right to offend Jewish people. You don't have the right to offend white people. You don't have the right to do those things. Now, we'll let you push the envelope and you can do certain things, but if you're going to get really disrespectful and offensive, keep it more so towards Blacks. And that's what happened. So the writers, that no different than Good Times and other shows to where there was a lot of offensive things going on with the Black community, they would push that. And when Keenen and the other Black cast members wanted to do things to show Black people in a more positive way, that's when it got pushed towards the wayside. So Keenen already had a problem with that. A lot of the really, really funny things that they wanted to show, they couldn't show because it wasn't more so of poking fun at Blacks. It was more so of poking fun at whites, you know, like in the movie White Chicks, how Marlon and Sean, you know, kind of made fun of white people. That was not the energy that they were going to let them push on the show In Living Color. So it was becoming an issue, and Keenen just didn't say anything. He just kept pushing until it got to the point of them removing them from deals. There was supposed to be a In Living Color reboot multiple times, and each time it fizzled. And it always fizzled because Keenen and Fox could never truly come to an agreement. So here's the problem. Keenen Ivory Wayans in the show In Living Color was doing well. It was still doing really good. But at this point in time, once a show gets a couple seasons, it's usually over with. They usually don't keep it going, especially Black shows. They give it a certain amount of time to make other things popular. And then when those things become popular, they usually get rid of the blueprint, which was In Living Color. It was completely different from Saturday Night Live. Yes, the concepts are kind of similar, but the shows are completely different. And In Living Color was doing phenomenal. It was literally making history. So with that being said, they started to do reruns, which is what we call shows that have already been aired and they re-air them again. And with reruns, you're usually given syndication, and that syndication comes with a deal, meaning that the shows will be aired in other countries, or the reruns will be shown on different broadcasting stations. How In Living Color came out on Fox, but if you watch TV to this day, you'll see like on BET and VH1 and other places that they show reruns of like Martin and Living Color, Living Single, you know. So that's a syndication deal, meaning that the creator of the show and the broadcasting station, they get a syndication deal and a lot of money off of re-airing reruns, because you're getting paid off of a product that is finished. So it's something that keeps having added value along, you know, as time goes on. So not only was Keenen and his family cut out of the deal, they never even brought it to them. It's like you just look up on TV one day and you see reruns. This is not the first time. Well, actually, it was the first time that this happened to the Wayans family, because it also happened to them with Scary Movie. They removed Scary Movie from them as well. Every great idea that they come up with, a broadcasting station takes it away, you know, which is not cool. And a lot of Black people have been stolen from, you know, throughout history, whether it's music or TV shows, you know, it just is what it is. So they left him out of the deal. So all of these millions and millions and millions of dollars that they are making off the show In Living Color, they're not seeing any of that income. They're only seeing what they're doing in present time, which was the seasons actually acting on the show and getting paid to be there, blah, blah, blah. So of course he was going to be upset. If somebody takes something that belongs to you and is making all of this money off of it and not even bringing you in on the deal, of course you're going to want to rebel. You're going to want to quit. You're going to want to protest. You're going to want to do all type of things. And the family did just that. That's when Keenen started to hide the new episodes that were edited so that the broadcasting company Fox could not get a hold of it, because they were not doing fair business deals. They were cutting them out of things. The business was just really bad. So he tried to take control again, Keenen, by hiding the episodes and keeping them away from them. And it just got to the point to where it got really exhausting and lawsuits and stuff started to come up. So he just gave up and left the set for good. But it didn't stop his family. His family did an on-air protest, and let's get into that. Damon and Marlon Wayans were free to leave with their brother, but Kim and Sean stayed because they remained under contract. So they and other cast members expressed their displeasure with the situation by wearing black shades and not participating in Jamie Foxx's Christmas number at the end of the first episode following Keenan's departure. The cast stuck by Keenen. There was not much they could do under contract, so them doing basically like a peaceful protest by wearing black shades and not participating in the Christmas special that Jamie Foxx was leading, they looked, we're family. Keenen started this. He brought us all together. It doesn't matter that we've had disagreements. At the end of the day, he is a part of this process. He helps this work, and with them already losing Damon and Marlon, it was bad. Like, everybody felt horrible. They're just like, where are our friends? Like, where's our boss? Like, what is going on? It's like you leave work one day and all of the components that makes the show successful are still there, and you come back the next day and it's like half of the people are gone. And it's just like, well, what is going on? So they were sad. It was a sad situation. It wasn't fair, and it was depressing. They were depressed that Keenen was gone, because as hard of a worker he was, and sometimes he could be a little hard on them, they knew it made them better. They knew that they would not be as successful as they were without him. And they wanted to try and help Sean and Kim get out of their contract, which I thought was really lit. So shout out to the Live in Color cast, because they really looked out for Keenen Ivory Wayans. The age-old story about why many shows end is due to low ratings, low views, that some of the stars leave, or the star of the show leaves or moves on to another project, blah, blah, blah. In the case of In Living Color, it was more so because it was snatched away from the Wayans family. If they would have let Keenen stay in creative control and did the syndication deal with Keenen, then I believe that the show would have went on for longer. But after all of the Wayans left, the main star that they had still was Jim Carrey. And remember, in the 90s, Jim Carrey did Ace Ventura: Pet Detective and When Nature Calls and so many other projects that he was working on, to where he became a phenomenon very quickly. And he was also very high paid very quickly. So if Jim Carrey was going to stay on set and continue to do the In Living Color show, they were going to have to pay a pretty penny to keep him there if he was going to be turning down other big movie deals and stuff. Because remember, being on a sitcom is way more time consuming than it is to do a movie. The need to have you on set is far more important than doing movies. You get to kind of come and go as long as you're not like the star of the movie, because there's going to be a lot of filming with you. But if you're just featuring in certain movies, then you have a lot of freedom. But on sitcoms, you don't. The contracts keep you confined to them, and most of them don't let you or allow you to do any other work. That's how you know that Jim Carrey was huge and the Wayans brothers were huge, because the other ones were working, like Marlon and Damon. They were doing movies like Mo Money, and they were doing so many different things and had so much stuff going on to where they were big stars. So of course the network is going to give them privilege, and Jim Carrey definitely got that, to where they would let him leave set and go and do other projects. Not everybody gets that type of energy unless you are big, means that you are needed. So it's better that we go let this person do this than we just get rid of them, because we need them. So after all of the Wayans once again left, Jim Carrey was the next big thing. And like I said before, if there was a season 6, it would have been basically the Jim Carrey show, because he was the last standout breakout star of In Living Color. So he would have been running the season, because he's technically the star. So it was a lot of pressure, but Jim Carrey could have definitely handled it, but he was too expensive. So let's get into it. If you recall, there were many high-profile actors on the show In Living Color. Many were just starting out massive film careers, and others were being offered their own shows. The show was a constant thorn in the side of the network by way of content. Fox wanted to show that it was easy to repackage the show for the syndication market, and the Wayans didn't want to compromise their voice. By 1992, Keenen had pretty much stopped appearing in sketches, and in the 5th and final season, none of the Wayans family were involved with the show any longer. Somewhat officially, Jim Carrey is cited as being the reason for the show's cancellation. It was assumed he'd be too expensive to keep on, and he was essentially the last superstar to stay on the show through the 5th season. Less officially was the fact that the Wayans didn't want to see their show continue without them and were shopping around for a competitive show to other networks. Aside from all of that, the show finished 71st in its final season. Not a good sign for any show looking to get renewed. So, like I said, Jim Carrey was the star, and he would have been way too expensive, especially if the show finished in 71st, to keep him going, especially if the show isn't making more money. You know, they want to profit off of the show. They don't want to be, let's spend, $3-4 million to keep this person here, and we only made $8-9 million off of the show. It's going to get to the point to where we're putting more money into this project than we're getting out of it. So it's best to just kind of end things, and Jim Carrey wasn't against it because he's a huge star. But if Jim would have stayed, the show would have continued. I don't think that they cared that the Wayans brothers were shopping around with a new show to other networks. They could have cared less. They owned In Living Color, and they were going to keep pushing it as long as it was successful. And without the Wayans, it's not successful. It's literally built around them. The same thing with the Scary Movie franchise. That franchise went downhill after the Wayans was kicked off of it. They should have just left well enough alone. But how it always is, as soon as a black show especially starts to be successful, people have to come in and rip it apart. So it is what it is. Shout out to all of the cast of In Living Color. Love the show. Shout out to Cardi B and Bruno Mars. They did a rendition of In Living Color on their music video, and the In Living Color cast adored it. It brought most of them to tears. Like Kim Wayans and a lot of other people tweeted how appreciative they were of Bruno Mars, especially for bringing In Living Color back into the limelight and bringing it back to life. So shout out to them for that. And that's pretty much all I have on In Living Color. I love you all. And until the next show, thank you for kicking it with your boy SeanDavieWay. Like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.